Imagine if you woke up every morning and knew the specific actions to take that felt creative, made your heart sing, felt as good as your craft, your business, your coaching, your therapy, whatever it is you do every day in your business. Well, that's what business and marketing archetypes can do for you. They help us stay on track. They help us really focus on our strengths, what's inside, and how to get back on track when we get off track. My name's Michelle Vandepass, and I want to share with you a system I developed that includes marketing and business and using your own internal strengths and really understanding where your own weakness is and how to stay on track. So, archetypes. Let's talk about archetypes. When I say the word mom, you have something that pops into your head, right? You have an understanding of what that pattern of mother means to you. And maybe mom and mother brings up two different things. Talking about it immediately brings up sort of a pattern, a system that you can relate to, some specific words that you can relate to. It's a set of expectations, if you will. So I want to talk about how these archetypes, these words that convey certain things, can help you in your business. So let's talk about a creative type, an artist. If I bring up the word artist, you may think starving artist, someone who struggles all the time, Van Gogh. Or you may think about Steven Spielberg or Whoopi Goldberg, or you may think about somebody else totally that you know who's just a really creative person. How do these archetypes, star, creative, professor, mechanic, visionary, how do these different archetypes work in business? Well, they give us a focus. They give us a place to understand when we're working from our strength or when we are stressed and maybe working with our weakness. So an example is if we have a troubled client or a client that gives us a real headache, or maybe we don't get paid in time for a project. When we're stressed, we might go into victim archetype. Oh, woe is me. Why can't I ever get any good clients? Why won't they pay me? What's going on? And we come whiny and go into victim archetype. But when we're in our strength and our power, we go into manager archetype or someone that is powerful, like CEO archetype, and we can just take back our power and say, hey, these are my boundaries. I need you to pay me. This is how often you get to call me every day, and so forth. And so it's just a system of being able to understand when we're in our strength and when we're in our weakness. Creative archetypes and creative people often go into perfectionistic mode when we aren't sure about what to do next, or if we're in overwhelm, or if we have so many great ideas and we don't know how to launch, or we're scared of launching our product, or we're unsure of if it will sell, right? Does that ever happen? You launch something and you're not sure if it's really going to sell or not. We go into perfectionistic archetype. We say, oh, it's not quite ready, or I need to tweak the landing page, or I need to create a sales page, or I need to go work on sales copy. And so nothing ever launches because you're always in creative mode. You're always in tweaking mode. The cool thing about creative archetypes is and I consider myself one, we've got tons of ideas, lots of things happening. But at some point, we have to move from creative archetype into an archetype that will help us execute. And for some of us, that might be management archetype, or a strong mother archetype who has to run a busy household and says, okay, fun's over, now let's get all the chores done. And so when you can relate to a specific archetype that helps you move from creative into mom archetype or management archetype, you get through the perfectionistic attitude. You can get through trying to make everything perfect, and move into implementation and say, okay, here are the 5 steps we need to do to launch our new product or to launch our new service or to go get new clients. Right? Does that make sense? So how do you know what archetype you're in? Well, when I work with private clients, I ask lots of questions. And so you might ask yourself these questions. How did you spend your time when you were 12 years old? That will give you some clues. Did you read a lot? Did you like to dig deep and really understand things? Maybe you've got some professor archetype. Or were you always doing art, dreaming, looking at the clouds? Maybe you've got some creative archetype. Were you organizing your closet, cleaning your room, making sure that all of your clothes and your shoes were lined up properly? Then maybe you've got some mechanic archetype. All of these have fabulous strengths. They are all archetypes you can use to be in business or to help you with wherever you want to be in your life. And the trick is to stay in the strength of the archetype, and when you see yourself going into the shadow side or the negative side or the stress side, that you can pull in another archetype to help you rebalance. And we all work from 2 or 3 archetypes most of the time. We're not all archetype, but we can draw from different ones. So if you find yourself in creative mode and never launching or never selling, then you pull in from one of these other archetypes. If you find yourself doing the shiny object syndrome, right? Oh, squirrel, where you're always following new ideas in your head and you're like, this is a great idea. And you'll say, oh, this website didn't work, so I'll just go create a new one. Or I tried to launch my ebook and it didn't really sell anything, so I'm going to go create a brand new one, right? That's what I call shiny object syndrome, where you're just going down these rabbit holes following one idea to the next. At some point, you have to pull it all back together and just pick and choose which idea matches a great business model that matches your purpose in life, your passions, where you want to go, and serves the people that you're here to serve, that reaches the people that you're here to reach, where you can do your life's work in the business context. So we all have lots of ideas and lots of interests. I like to dance, I do Tai Chi and Qigong. I've got a lot of interests as well, but I don't try to create business models out of all of them. And so here's a hint. If you find yourself in creative archetype with tons of business ideas or creative ideas coming through, just write them all down. Write them down, get them out of your head, give them a place to express. But don't worry about trying to make a business model out of every one of these ideas. You're going to choose and pick your top 1 or 2 ideas and see if they fit with the business you already have. And if so, then you're going to move from creative archetype into one of the other archetypes that will help you implement. So you may need to go into visionary archetype to see how your new idea fits with your whole business. Is there a vision? Is there a place you can use this new idea in the present business you have? And then into creative archetype and actually create your new product or service. But at some point you have to go into CEO archetype or management archetype, depending upon your strengths, and actually do some research, find out who needs what you have, find out if there's a market for it, how to price it, and how it fits, and then launch and sell your product. So I recently had a client who came to me with a ton of ideas in her head. They were all great ideas, well researched, and she had bought a ton of URLs and had set up, I think, 4 or 5 blogs and Facebook pages to match all the blogs, and websites to match, and Twitter accounts to match. And she was confused about how to pull it all together into one business model. And that's a great example of a creative archetype who kind of jumps from one great idea to the next before any one has really taken hold. And what we did with her was found the thread that goes between all of these great ideas. What is the overriding theme of everything? And pulled that together in one of her existing websites, pulled it together with the Facebook and the Twitter and the social media that matched, right? And the blogging. And in her case, she really did want to blog. I don't recommend that for everybody. It depends upon your strengths and the business model that you're going for and so forth. But we were able to streamline everything and pull it into one website, one business model, and still have all these different products and services with all these creative ideas she had, but in one business model. And then you're launching one product at a time, you're selling one service at a time. These are different things that she offers in her business rather than different businesses. And that is one of the places I ask you to look at your business today. Do you have all these different great things going on, but you're not sure how to streamline them? Find the thread that goes between all these great ideas and see how you can put it under one umbrella. Star, professor, creator, mechanic, visionary, caregiver or caretaker. These are all archetypes that we bring into business that we can use to actually market from, and when we're in our strength, use the blessings, the gifts of those archetypes to really propel us forward. But notice when you're stressed, when you're on the other side and you're in overwhelm or you're not getting things done or you're confused, you're in the edge of that archetype that we just need to pull it back a little bit out of the shadow, out of the dark side, into the essence of who you are and who that archetype is to really propel you forward. I hope this has been helpful. You can find me at michellevandepass.com. And if you would like your own archetype consultation, head on over to my apply page. It's on my website. You'll find it under consultation. It's michellevandepass.com/apply, and fill out the form. And if we're a match, I'd be happy to give you a complimentary archetype consultation and also help you find the threads and the strengths that can really serve you best in your business.